Dead men tell no tales, but their ships speak volumes. Welcome to the Cursed Compass, where we explore the darkest maritime mysteries. In the shallow waters of the Thames Estuary, just off the coast of England, 3 rusted masts break the surface. They are the only visible remains of the SS Richard Montgomery, an American Liberty ship that sank here in the summer of 1944. But this wreck is not treated like a typical maritime memorial. It is surrounded by a strictly enforced exclusion zone. It is monitored 24 hours a day by radar. In May 2025, the UK government even banned flights below 13,100 feet within a mile of this exact spot. The authorities are guarding a massive, volatile arsenal. When the Richard Montgomery went down, it took roughly 1,400 tons of live World War II high-explosive bombs with it. This is an active, ticking time bomb, sitting in shallow water, holding the English coast hostage. This scale diagram illustrates the precise catastrophic risk of a detonation. If the ship's rotting masts collapse into the cargo hold, it could trigger a chain reaction, resulting in a column of water and debris shooting 3,000 meters into the air. As the map view shows, the sheer displacement of water from an explosion of that magnitude would generate a 5-meter tsunami. That wall of water would sweep directly into nearby coastal towns like Sheerness and Southend. And the ship is actively falling apart. The metal hull is cracking, meaning this doomsday scenario is tied to a rapidly accelerating natural countdown. This map traces the ship's final route. In August 1944, the Richard Montgomery left Philadelphia loaded with over 6,000 tons of munitions, eventually anchoring in the Thames Estuary to await a convoy to France. On August 20th, the ship dragged its anchor. Nearby vessels noticed the massive ship drifting toward a shallow sandbank, blaring sirens to warn the crew. Inexplicably, the chief officer did not react, and the captain never woke up. The ship ran aground. As the tide went down, the massive weight of the cargo caused the ship to break its back on the sandbank. The hull violently cracked open, and several forward cargo holds flooded with seawater. A local stevedore company scrambled to remove the cargo. They managed to pull out thousands of bombs over the next month, but the hull continued to split. By late September, the salvage operation was abandoned, and the crew fled, leaving the remaining explosives behind. A baffling moment of human paralysis stranded the vessel, and the sea quickly swallowed it, freezing the danger in place. Over the last 80 years, the flooded cargo holds have become a slow-motion chemistry experiment. This diagram of a submerged bomb fuse shows the chemical reaction at play. As water breaches the casing, lead azide inside the bomb fuses reacts with copper components. This combination forms an entirely new, highly sensitive explosive compound called copper azide. Copper azide is incredibly volatile. A simple physical knock, like a shifting tide, a collision, or one of those iron masts collapsing, is enough to trigger an explosion that detonates the bulk of the cargo. Decades underwater haven't neutralized these bombs. The prolonged isolation has actually armed them with a hair trigger. If the ship is this dangerous, why didn't the government just move it in the decades following the war? The answer lies in a chilling precedent. In 1967, authorities attempted to clear the Kielce, a Polish munitions ship that had sunk in the English Channel. During the preliminary clearing work, the Kielce exploded. The blast was equal to a 4.5 Richter scale earthquake. It carved a 20-foot deep crater into the seabed and sent the nearby coastal town of Folkestone into a panic. The Kielce was sitting in deeper water, miles further out to sea, and held just a fraction of the explosives aboard the Richard Montgomery. Recognizing the extreme risk, the government chose to leave the ghost ship alone. This high-contrast sonar scan outlines the shipwreck's current state. The hull is actively dying. Recent surveys confirm the ship is breaking into 3, and soon 4, distinct pieces. Knowing a structural collapse could trigger the bombs, the UK government signed a £9.5 million contract in April 2026 to perform a high-risk surgical operation, cutting down the heavy iron masks before they cave in. But the mission is plagued by terrifying complications. Divers have found unidentified metallic objects scattered on the seabed around the hull. That discovery, combined with sudden fears that the exposed site is highly vulnerable to drone sabotage, has repeatedly delayed the rescue mission. After 80 years of deliberate inaction, the accelerating decay is finally forcing the government to play a desperate game of operation on a live bomb. The stakes of this operation are entirely human. Nearly 20,000 residents of Sheerness, along with surrounding towns, live directly inside the blast radius. World War II ended 8 decades ago, but the lethal machinery of that conflict is still holding this stretch of the English coastline hostage. The monster in the shallows is waking up. The sea is slowly claiming the last of its rusted shell, and with every shifting tide, the